All right, you ready? What do we got here? Here we got Bones' book. Found, please return to any salty. This is generally where it starts for me. Most kids get this, but we're going to actually hold that one off for a moment. All right, kids don't need to understand this. More of a teacher's manual than it is for a kid. All right, and this is Bones' book, or excuse me, Salty's book for any bones. You give it back to them about run speed, minutes per second, and things like that. These are your azimuths, your land navs, your site models in terms of what geolocation it is on the map of your town. All right, got a town census, my town census inside of here. What's the general average inside of here? I actually build you a part-time system, how to deal with alpha units or things like that when you're working reserve coach for the weekend kind of pay stuff. You got to find the environment for it. This takes quite a while to go through inside of that situation. How to form a census, how to resources. Forming census is the best places I have out here, and I give you a list how to prioritize that. I'm not saying that they're all going to be the best of places to start inside of here, but given your skill sets, your initial momentum, you'll have to figure that out. All right, how to walk that census out when you get there. Eyeball it, and or ask. This is questions that you should be careful with. You never know, Filipino, Asian, Chinese. It's a tough thing, so you might have to do that with race, but just generally try to get it right. Fill them in. All right, so here we've seen this one originally here, but we've updated it. These are military timelines. First shift, second shift, third shift. It's usually all over the road, given the wave function to the single wide here, which is a nice way to do it. And again, I know you're thinking I'm crazy, right? How do you take a new guy out of one of these mills and cover $50,000 with them? Well, you're going to have to get into this breakfast CPI, right? Eggs, break it right down all the way to the quantum limit with them. Take it by the weeks and the months with them until they kind of get the concept here of what we might be doing, right? How this system works. What's the general model? What are the age ranges and things you would like to see this? These are not set in the stone, obviously. These are general guidelines in which you can follow. Okay. Here's another version of it. I thought it was due better for this situation to add it in here. This is my IMA program, pack your lunch detail, right? These actually still cost stuff, and you'll have to use them in those mills or those board factories or anything you're doing. And again, the CPI never stopped. Now we're just saying those 2-egg, 3-egg omelet, which every old schooler ever always eats, is also your lunch. Coffee every morning, a toolkit once you get it designed, and what goes into that lunch, pal, every week, every day. Well, I'll show you in a minute. Calm down, baby bird. We'll get to it. We'll get to your basic system of what a IMA brief is, right? How to do an SCP model of an 053, the little girl SCP, a reality warper in a board factory, right? Stick her in there, see what happens. You'll learn. Don't let her get hurt. But that's the nature of 173, isn't it? You blink and you get your next apt, or 682's Python programming model. Here are the acid tank. All right, so we're going to take that down and continue our CPIs, lunches, dinners, everything into the situation until we are comfortable at the grocery store with a fixed model roughly every week. There's nothing free about that, but you have to figure this out first, especially if I were going to start a program for you with a lot of money, or with that 50K in mind, or any other increment of that statement, right? And we're going to break this down over the year, just like one of them kids. Let's see if I can find him here. If I can find it here. What are we looking for? Well, math tests and other things inside of the situation. I'd be a baseball coach, stuff like that. Here we go. Algebra test, how to design Remember that ASVAB I was doing here? But we're going to take it and make it much more comprehensive and add or nest difficulty into it until we find out which common sector analysis was inside here. Here, life, work, figuring out their numbers, making it that system inside of here, and adjusting that through whatever you need to charge into that system for this basic system, for this basic model, excuse me. That's your monthly. Here's another depiction of that with other details. You know, here's the month. I don't have necessarily room on this calendar to handle all of the detailed information that I might need to do on the daily day basis as we're processing this down. Here's the next month. Also a difference. The first month, the second month, they're going to be vastly different from each other, but there's certain things that you have to hit, right? Danger Dave. Is this Danger Dave? Oh, no, these are the IMA things. You know, block, Zooming, class, lodge meetings, whatever you call them. Safety briefs. However you go about do this. Again, this is not fixed. This is to give you the idea to how to better integrate it multi-domain battlefield into your situation. Yeah? Okay. And I don't want to have to do that. Look, I will smoke you. Anyways. Danger Dave, the first man to walk this process. I wonder who that was. Frankenstein, Salty Sharps. You know, we'll show you how to do this, to make something like this happen in whatever form that you're doing it, as you can integrate Rosie the Conqueror here, Victor Timely, Doom, Charge of Ladvia, right, into these models. All right, Rosie the Conqueror over here. Frankenstein, and again, there's little gems in all of these that make them individually different, you know, and why you might want to idealize certain players, pieces, or generals for that idea. Little fire flowers out there running around. All right, so then we're going to take that around, and again, I'm going to reintegrate whatever land nav you have by the scales, in which we are going to have to view very different things on. Okay, it gets big in a hurry, and I mean real big, where these scales of increments kind of stop working to the level of the limit in which you can kind of describe this P and Q type situation. Schwarzenegger. We're going to go through all the lists of heads of state, right? We're going to write them all down. I touched on the subject of side rulers or local rulers. These aren't really the UN countries, their leaders, their prime ministers, their presidents, whatever it is, in all 193 countries. I think it's super critical to understand this. You never know. You know the country leader. It's easy to look, easy to check. It's still on the internet. Was I correct? Something better than nothing. And you don't have to, it's unplugged. It's useful. Helps you memorize things that you might need. All right, so let's just keep it moving here. That's all 193 of them. All right, and some detailed information, some alphas, betas, Ys, little deltas, epsilons, that you need into this situation. It gives you an idea that not all of these, you know, here's a photon, right? Or an alpha. All right, at any rate. Why these things have flaw like that. And it gets pretty heavy of all the different reasons and why. And hopefully this did a good job. Just a Wikipedia write-out, but it's so important to it, more than just the contents of these names, of things that you have to understand about this process, this choice of proxy or, well, drill, you know how it is. At any rate, Declaration of Independence, super critical. You should know these things, all the conditional states that you're doing this, and you should understand something about America at the time too, and where we are today, some of the things at the table. Who knows in Virginia back in the day, 1774, 1773, right? You know, the colonies have been around for a while. King George is kicking in the cat house, collecting direct taxes on things. Yeah, I'd be pissed as an American. They're also trying to run a country, and you may not know what's going on in the rest of the world in 1776, seeing that the cell phones and communication aren't around. Stuff you really need to pay attention to in these bear markets lately. We're going through that, the whole Constitution, or a whole Declaration of Independence. All right. List of United States presidents and their time they served. This will be important for when we get into the amendments. All the reasons that we form, trying to idealize command directives for them. Where are you close to the line? If any of these violations of rights are necessary to understand to the reason why you fight. Now, again, we'll get more into that here later. I don't want to beat a drum on the issue right yet here. We got other things we're doing. Section 4. Usually the first 10 are the ones you need anyways. 25th's the president there. All right. So the cabinet, right? All the senators, or governors, excuse me, state representatives, all 435 of them? 500 yeah, well, I had it written down here somewhere. There's a bunch of them. There's 100 senators, representatives. I don't exactly remember right offhand. We'll keep that going here because it will again tell you whether the Democrat or Republican. If you had the long format to do the pie chart, you could. Usually that's all done on the internet for you. But there's still a lot of stuff that you got to remember, man. These are all the 56 of California, the 23, 26. I know AOC is 14 in New York, at least, anyway. That's a lot of names, and you'll see a lot of these people on Fox and CNBC, YouTube Finance. You're going to get a lot of these guys inside of here. It's good to remember their faces. It's good to remember what districts they represent inside of the situation and who they're flying the flag for. All right, what else we got in here? Mayors, right? Just mayors of the 50 biggest cities in the world. And we'll continue this. We will keep this going inside of the situation. All right, we'll make a break before we take on Bones' book here.